It's interesting because I've been working during my summer break, and I've been telling the kids this is the first day of the rest of your life, and what you do today will determine your entire future, so make it count. And so this is in alignment with...
It is, but what you're wanting to do is find fresh new ways of saying that. They go, yeah. Yeah. They're so sick of hearing that babble come out of people's mouths who aren't doing it themselves. In other words, don't you just love hearing some adult whose life screwed up telling you this is the first day of the rest of your life, and they go, big deal. I've got that to look forward to, is what they feel in most cases, you see. And so what you're wanting to do is live what you teach. Be happy whether they are or not. Get your valve open. You're getting the sense of what we mean by your valve open. Pure positive energy streams to you at all times. There's not two streams, one of wellness and one of illness, one of poverty or one of abundance. One stream, which you're letting in or you're not. And you can't see the valve, you can't see the energy either, but you can feel how you're doing. So if one of those kids gets your goat and makes you angry, what they've succeeded in doing is getting you to close your valve. And when your valve's closed, you're tired. When your valve's open, you're energized. When your valve's closed, you're confused. When your valve's open, you're enlightened. When your valve's closed, you're ornery. You don't feel good either. When your valve's open, you feel elated. You feel enthusiastic. You see? Now, by nature, you are an open valve being. In other words, we can sense that. People who know you know that you're that way. They gravitate to you. And that's the thing that's got you stymied about this, is you say, here I am, this energetic, vital, and alive person, and these rascals have got me hogtied. In other words, they're making me into something I'm not. And we say, they're just exposing you to an overdose of disconnectedness. They're just a sort of microcosm of the balance of the vibration of your planet. Don't let them get you down. See them as those who have their valve closed much of the time who would like to have their valve open. What you're wanting to do is find some rhetoric that they can relate to. You're wanting, and once you get focused in that classroom with them, and you get your valve open, you will literally be inspired to the vocabulary that they will hear. In other words, you will be inspired to the perfect words, more importantly, to the perfect timing of the words. It's interesting. You can be interacting with somebody who's having a very hard time and addressing the entire classroom, and therefore not targeting the specific individual that you're really talking to, and offer something, almost lulling them into a sense of open valve, and then with perfect timing you can look right at that person and deliver something to them that penetrates them to the very core of their being, because you're speaking truths that they know that they are not accustomed to hearing, you see. What you're wanting to express to these kids is, I don't blame you for being angry. I'm angry too. Life is supposed to be fun. And somehow it's turned into this arena where we're supposed to prove worthiness or climb the rungs of some ladder. But the problem with it, everybody's got a different idea about what's appropriate and what's inappropriate. And say to them, I discovered a long time ago that if I will follow my gut or my heart, and say to them, in my case, if it isn't fun, I don't want to be a part of it. And that has served me very well. And then say to them, so that probably means to you, since you don't find this classroom as fun, you should all get up and walk out of it. And say to them, and I agree with you, if it were up to me, I'd release all of you to do something that you'd rather do. The last thing that I want to do is hold you captive in a place you don't want to be, because I know how I feel when I'm held captive in a place I don't want to be. Sometimes I feel like that here with you. I thought I wanted to be a teacher because I remember how much fun it was to learn. And I remember how expansive it felt. And I remember even liking some of my teachers who stimulated awareness in me that I didn't know I had. But now I'm here in this classroom. I have to tell you that on most days, just as you're saying, why am I here and how can I get out of here, I'm doing some of the same thing. It's like we're all trapped in here together, sort of banging it out and going through the motions. But say to them, the other night, I woke up realizing that I had broken a vow to myself, and that is, if it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. So I've made a decision that I'm going to have fun in here whether you do or not. And tell them that's not too much trouble for you. Tell them you've always taken great delight in laughing at your own jokes. Tell them you commonly tell jokes that nobody else laughs at. You're the only one that has a good time with it. So you think you can pull this off just fine. You think that you figured out a way that you can have fun in this classroom whether they do or not. And fun does not mean grinding on subjects and fulfilling the requirements that the establishment has established for us. Fun means finding value, some sort of value here in this co-creation.
At the same time, the administrator comes and evaluates me as a teacher, and I get marked down for not having classroom management, for not having enough control and peacefulness.
We promise you that if you were delivering a message like that, you'd have their full attention. And as the administrator walks into the room, right in the middle of your sentence, you say, "Now, if you will turn to page 47." And they will all love you for it, because they will recognize that you are all in this together. In other words, they will recognize that you have joined them in the understanding that the administration doesn't have any idea what it's talking about. And they will see you as a comrade who is helping them to make this classroom more endurable, and they will be shocked to discover how much power that you help them discover in themselves. You can turn this around. We don't care if it's the last week of your class. When you get your valve open and you remember who you are and why you are there, some of them will begin to respond to it. Some of them will always be. You see, have you noticed that some of the most famous people on your planet now were those rotten kids in class? How would you like to have had David Letterman in your class? Talk to some of his teachers. They will tell you what it was like. His mind was fast, he was witty, he made the kids laugh constantly. He had no respect for what was going on, he always had his own agenda going, you see. Success is not about ritualizing, it's not about standardizing. Your system of comparison is creating mediocrity. And that's why the kids don't want a part of it. They can feel the fire being beaten out of them, and they resent that, you see. Here are these pure positive energy beings come forth with the energy that says, I can be or do and have anything, and their adults are saying, no, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't. And they are looking for as many ways as they can to express to you, yes, I can. So they take great triumph over getting your goat, you see.
And the interesting thing is the kids that do well are called schoolboy or schoolgirl, and they're put down as wanting to achieve in the school system.
By the other
students.
What we really think is happening is those who are really conforming to the system are physical beings who have a stronger desire to please, because they are evaluating their worth as it is reflected back through the eyes of others. Where those rambunctious ones that don't give a rip what you think of them are those who are looking for that greater connection, you see. And the reason that they're putting them down is because they want to say, can't you see what you're doing? You're selling out. You're giving in. They're making sheep out of you. Don't you want to be who you really are? You see?